Hello, hello, Ederson Oliveira here for DNN Hero. Today I have with me Joe, Scott. Joe, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. 18 inches of snow and counting here in the Baltimore, D.C. area.
So, very good. Actually, I hope that by the end of this chat today, we don't have you up in your neck of snow, you know?
If we do, I'll be cut off.
Scott, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Like they say in the Game of Thrones, winter is coming.
That was actually the opening line on the 11 o'clock news last night.
I bet.
Hopefully it will not reach this far in Toronto. I think it won't. I think it won't cross the lake.
We're not going to get it out here in the Midwest. It's just going to be cold.
No, this is what they call a classic nor'easter, a low pressure system from the Pacific Northwest goes down into the Gulf of Mexico, picks up water, roars up through Georgia and the Carolinas, goes offshore, hits the Gulf Stream where the water is something like 10 or 15 degrees warmer, and that just feeds the storm with moisture, and in this case it appears to be aimed at the Baltimore, D.C. area, and we're going to get an historic level of snow, as in if it beats the 1922 record, it's the largest snowfall in this area on record.
Oh, you're ground zero.
Yeah, which means that we'll be getting back to normal around Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, I bet.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was Joe Craig, our weatherman. And again, weather forecast, you just touch base with Joe Craig. Now, going back to our DNN space, our DNN ecosystem, world here. Again, the big news is really not that big of a news anymore, but DNN 8 is out. DNN 8 has been released. Joe Brickman has been how can I say, doing a lot of presentations, doing a lot of interactions with the community about the new way of creating modules on the MVC style using SPA. So again, just 2 days ago, I've watched, by the way, this has been recorded on January 23rd, 2016. And just 2 days ago, I saw the presentation that he did for the user group. There, Joe was present as well on the is that the Charlotte? Is that Joe? Got it. So again, talking about DNN 8, I have here in front of us the recording of the original webinar that went on from Joe Brickman and Will Morgan-Wack presenting the DNN 8 back on January 14th, 15th. So that there's the video presentation that they put together. There are some slides as well. There is this page that shows a list of the breaking changes going on DNN 8, talking about prerequisites that have changed a little bit, no longer supporting IE8, thank God, extracting and removing some modules, some navigation providers that were removed as well, and a lot of other what they call breaking changes. So again, it's a good place to have a look at that and see what kind of adjustments you may have to do going forward on your module development efforts for DNN 8. What else we have on DNN 8? Again, the slides. This is a fresh new installation of DNN 8. Again, from a superficial look, you don't see much difference. I think there are some slight changes here on the default skin, but not that many. And there is a new skin coming up as well. I'm not sure if it's released with that skin. It's actually a skin coming from, a theme coming from Ernst Peter from the Netherlands, I think he is, yeah. And I don't know if it's already included here or not, or if it will be included in a future minor release. What else we have here? Still around the DNN 8 theme. Here is a post that I came across from Chris Hammond about the new module development templates for DNN 8. And so again, interesting posts here from him updating his templates to work on DNN 8. Now, then it seems to me that there will be two sets of templates here. Is that right, guys?
Yeah, I haven't taken a deep look at them. I think that Chris Hammond is just going to follow the same pattern that his DNN 7 templates took, where it was kind of, it creates that kind of item example code for you, and it looked it looked to me like the Joe Brinkmans were just kind of almost a clone of the new MVC HTML module that just where they pulled out some of the stuff. So I'll probably have a better look at that and more in-depth analysis of which one to use coming up soon. I actually didn't use any of their templates to start my development. The development I did on the competition, the DNN 8 module competition that I'm involved in, which by the way got extended to the 29th of this month because of the delay in the templates coming out. At least that's what Joe Brinkman mentioned in that update. But I actually started just with the code that I used a while back in my DNN Hero. What was that? The next gen module. Just a little bit of tweaking to that seemed to work fine. So, but I'll give a more in-depth analysis on them later, which one might be better to start with, or maybe which one's better to start with in certain circumstances, or I might develop one of my own as well. So we'll see.
I can attest that again, for no particular reason other than I get to learn a lot about module development from Scott's video. I personally use Scott's templates. I mean, that's the basis of anything that I create. Not saying that's better or not than the other ones, but it's just the one that I have chosen to use. Okay.
So actually, if you look at the webinars that Joe Brinkman did, he actually started with the module development tools that are built into DNN for a lot of that.
The module creator thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm not real familiar with that, but it looks like that they may have made some additions to that support some of the new features, or they've just cleaned it up a bit.
Yeah, well, for the SPA module, I think that's the case. I don't think they probably don't start with Visual Studio. They probably start with their module creator and generate it from there. And obviously, it's easier to work in Visual Studio once it comes down to like actually coding it, because who wants to work with a HTML front end to code,
Just even beginning that way seems a little odd to me. That particularly,
it makes sense to generate the files for you. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, sure, but the templates do that too.
Yeah.
Anyway, bottom line here, lots of different ways to be doing module development. Yeah, and you pick the one that will be more suitable to your specific case. That's really it about DNN 8. As time goes by, I'll get to look more into DNN 8, and actually I'll be doing some video series of DNN 8 as well. So I'll be able to bring a little bit more substance to what I see as differences from DNN 8 and DNN 7. Okay, so that's it about DNN 8. Joe, I will give it to you. We're going to talk a little bit now about the DNNCon, which is coming up April 1st and 2nd.
DNNCon, which is a community-organized conference devoted to DNN, will be held on April Fool's Day and the following Saturday in the Baltimore area. What I'm showing you here is a version of the website that is not quite live. This page is what you'll see and only what you'll see when you get there. But if you are interested in getting on our mailing list to get email updates on DNNCon, please give us your name and email address and click the button. Or just check back early in the week, and we'll have all of this information available to you. It is dnncon.com. And I'll just tell you a few things about it, going a little bit out of order. Friday, April 1st is our DNN training day. And if you choose to attend this, you get your choice of training as a DNN administrator, a DNN designer, or a DNN developer. This is basically a full day of training. You pick one and you stick with it. We will have well-known, famous, and excellent instructors for this session. And the one thing I probably should point out is that while the DNNCon event is a totally free event, DNN training is paid training, and the cost is $300. We'll feed you lunch as part of that, but this is a really good way of getting your feet wet in DNN, bringing yourself up to date with what is new, or perhaps you want to take a track that you're not as familiar with to extend your knowledge of DNN. Since this DNN Con will be the first conference on the planet following the release of DNN 8, we're going to work hard to highlight and identify features related to DNN 8, but not leave people behind who are still using DNN 7. If you're using DNN 4, good luck. But we'll certainly educate you about current versions of DNN 8. I suspect that most people who have live websites will be on DNN 7 probably at least for 6 months, if not longer. On Saturday is the full DNNCon session, which starts with breakfast, a keynote address. The main sessions will provide Y number of tracks that you can choose from, and basically you can just pick and choose the sessions that you want to attend. We will have sessions on administration, theme design, developer things, business-related things, and some other tracks that are still under development. Scott mentioned the DNN Module Challenge contest that he's taking part in. We hope that we'll get people who submitted entries in that contest to come in, A, show off their modules, and B, discuss the challenges that they have had in developing modules using the new style. And we may have some sessions that get a little bit off the wall. Maybe we'll get Anderson to show off his magic buttons and other device or Internet of Things kinds of things that people are doing, maybe with DNN, but maybe just doing in general. Again, we'll have a breakfast, a lunch, plenty of opportunities to interact with our sponsors who likely will be well-known names in the DNN ecosystem, so you can chat with them about their products, give them advice about future developments, and so forth. And finally, at the end of the day on Saturday, the main attraction of the closing session is the door prize and raffle drawings. Everybody gets excited about that. We'll have more information about that. We will also have the famous or infamous DNN Ignite sessions. This is a series of 5-minute talks. You're limited to some number of slides. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they automatically advance at a predefined schedule. So these are often passionate talks about things that people are interested in. My favorite one was, I think, from one of the West Palm Beach events where Ernst Peter Tominga started out saying, "I want your money," and I'll just leave it to you to do some research and find out what he planned to do with your money. We also have a very strong emphasis on networking, making friends, getting to know people, reconnecting. On Friday night, we have a welcome reception, food and a couple of drinks complimentary. And on Saturday night, the event is called DNN After Dark. The venue of that will be announced, but again, it's an opportunity to get together, cement those relationships you built over the weekend, and just have fun. It's called DNN Con Baltimore. What that means is it's in Columbia, Maryland, which is suburban to Baltimore. We're very close to Baltimore Washington International Airport, so it's an easy ride to get to the hotel. And you can see that the picture I have for the hotel was taken in the summertime. April 1st, there's no telling what the weather will be like. It's pretty much guaranteed not to snow. It is April shower time, but things should be greening up. And if the weather is nice, there's a nice walking, running trail around the lake, other attractions nearby. And on the website, you'll see other things, particularly people who might bring family with them. There's a wealth of activities within walking distance of the hotel that they can take part in. And you're not that far from downtown Baltimore, the Inner Harbor, and all of its attractions, and not that far from D.C. The D.C. area will be right in the middle of the Cherry Blossom Festival. Cherry blossoms bloom sometimes late January and sometimes not until late April, so it really does depend on the weather. If you plan on staying an extra day, Orioles opening day is the Monday after DNN Con, so you could make a long weekend, go down to D.C. on Sunday, go to a ball game on Monday, and unlike Toronto, we generally don't get snow on opening day. Let's see, there will be a registration form on the website. We expect to roll this out early in the week, which means Monday the 25th. So hopefully this will be up and running entirely before you even see this video. So dnncon.com. If you have questions about the event, we will have some email addresses prominently displayed on the website. Info@dnncon.com is how you get in touch with us most generally. So that's pretty much it. I'm looking forward to seeing old familiar friends and lots of new faces. So think about coming. I think you will find that it's well worth your time.
Perfect. I'm sure it is, Joe. And again, you will all be here more as things evolve. In the next chat, you're gonna have more information about that, and with some, I guess, that from already established sessions, isn't it? I mean, from within a month, we should have the sessions.
Yeah, within a month, we'll be able to tell you the names of the people teaching the training classes, and hopefully have a moderately well-developed version of the schedule.
Perfect. Okay, good. So again, keep us posted, and we talk again in a month about that. So now here is what I would like to discuss next, and that's the last point of this particular recording of this particular chat. As most of you know, I pushed forward this past Christmas, New Year, a survey, a DNN survey, asking about what we love, what needs improvement, what was done right, what was done wrong on the DNN space, on the DNN ecosystem. And that's following a survey that I have put together a year before, which I have it open here, which I've called the 10 biggest pain points of DNN in 2014. Now, again, 2015, I decided to expand that and not only bring the pain points, but the positive aspects of DNN and what has grown and what has changed and what has not improved much. Again, a bit more comprehensive, and I will highlight some of the differences between the first one and the next one in terms of results. But I really took my time the past few days to go through the results, and there were a lot of results. And I'm not talking about option questions. I'm talking about, open-ended questions that you can write anything. So again, you're gonna see that there was a lot of data to go through and a lot of data to classify. Now, I want to highlight one thing is that I'm not a mathematician. I'm not a statistical guy. I'm not a practitioner of those matters, of those subjects. So I did the best I could to compile and summarize the results. Of course, a lot of flaw went on that, but again, I pushed the best that I could in terms of organizing the massive response. So let's go and get some data here. I'm going to open a PowerPoint that I put together. By the way, this is only the PowerPoint. I will follow up with an extensive post that will give a lot more details. But today I just want to walk through the general results and comment a little bit about those results, not going into too much details. I will be going into the details of those results in the blog, in the post that I am putting together. But I decided to share the initial results with you guys. Now let's have a look here. So the audience. So who was the audience that we have collected the survey from? So the survey ran from December 22nd to January 8th, so just about 3 weeks, and it was sent to the newsletter subscribers of DNN Hero, DeskPal, and our friends at DNN Creative as well. So to all those mailing lists, we had about 200, we had exactly, let me put it this way, 261 participants on the survey. And from those 261, we got 1,604 answers. And again, not multiple choice answers, but open-ended answers. So again, I went through each one of those and I read each one of those and I classified each one of those. Next year, hopefully, I'll be able to spread the love and the workload amongst my two friends, you know, one right down here, the other one up there, you know, but that's for next year. So again, good participation. If I compare to 2014, in terms of participants, we have about 20% more participation. I have great plans for 2016 survey, but again, that's down the road. In the number of answers, I mean, it was a little bit overwhelming, and I had to be creative on how to classify those things. But anyway, that's the audience. Now, what was asked, just in case you haven't seen the survey or in case you don't remember what were the questions. So there were basically 5 questions. 3 reasons why you like DNN, 3 aspects that you think needs improvement in DNN. So in a way, 3 things that you hate on DNN or that you don't love on DNN. Third one, what did DNN do right in 2015? So this is trying to look very much into what was done in 2015. Then what did DNN do wrong in 2015? Again, we know that, you know, some of the moves are not very positive, some of the moves are negative, and that's life. And the last one, in a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend DNN as a CMS and as a framework? So that's really to try to extract the Net Promoter Score from the data, but we're gonna get there in a second. So let's go down and have a look at each one of the responses of those 3 questions. And again, I've aggregated them. The first one that we have here is why I love DNN. By the way, the color scheme of the chart is not that great, but I wasn't able to change it easily on PowerPoint. I wanted some light colors, but anyway, that was the best color scheme that I was able to find. So let's just go through it quickly. Why I love DNN. Different from 2014, which I haven't asked that, but and on top of everything here is because it's easy. It's easy, and I can get some samples of how do you classify easy. It's easy to use, it's easy to set up, it's easy to develop modules. Some may agree, some may not. It's easy to learn. So again, those were what I bundled there into the easy one. Features, people love the features. And a lot goes bundled there, but I can highlight. People love the security aspects of DNN, the users, the roles, the ability to do granular security on modules and on pages. People love the administration of DNN. People love the fact that it's multi-tenant, that you can create multiple portals, each portal pointing to a different website, to a different domain. They love the localization, the inline editor, the fact that it's connected to it's integrated with Active Directory. They love the editor. I'm not sure who is loving that, but yes, someone loves the editor. And talking a little bit about about Evoke specifically, people really like the persona bar, and people really like the workflows of Evoke. So that was the features. People love the fact that there are a lot of extensions. That's the third one, third-party extensions. I'm talking really about modules and themes. They love the fact that it's very extensible. They love the fact that there is a lot of open source extensions, and again the marketplace as well. Going a little bit down, they love the fact that DNN is based on .NET, which is based on the on the Microsoft stack, SQL. So again, the whole Microsoft stack there. That's a big reason why people love DNN. The fact that it's open source, the fact that it's free, no cost out of the open source DNN platform. They love the flexibility. I don't need to say much there. they love the community as well. Again, I would really love to see community going up, but it's there, it's present there. So people love the community, people love the fact that the community is involved, is helpful, that, you know, people can ask questions in the forums and they can get answers. People love the extensibility, the fact that you can extend, and the modularity as well. So those two aspects are integrated there. People love the framework, you know, the fact that you can build your modules and develop on top of a framework, you know. And people love the support. Not too many, but there is a support there, and that support, it's very much geared towards DNN Corp. So that support attributed to the DNN Corp and the Evoke product. And there is a long tail of other reasons why people love DNN, but those are the basic ones. Anything surprise you guys there?
No, I think what would be interesting, I'm just thinking of it now, is as I've gotten more experienced with other CMSs because of the necessity, whether I'm converting one of those CMSs to DNN or helping out with something else, you know, how many of these people have experience with our CMSs, because, and maybe that's why some of the things that surprise you, Aderson, and maybe me too, would not be as surprising, because, like, for example, I've dealt with other CMSs where there was no concrete really way to install a module. It was just sort of like you copy files here and do these certain things here, and you know, DNN has a pretty well-defined installation process. So, you know, those are the type of things that, you know, might be interesting if you're comparing, you know.
Got it. Okay, so
Aderson, since others is a fairly large wedge of this pie, maybe you could mention what a couple of those things might be?
Yeah, I can. So under others, I can mention things like JavaScript integration. I mean, people love the fact that it's integrated with the different. You can easily integrate other JavaScript-based frameworks, although maybe it's not that easy. But again, some people think that it's easy. They love the platform. They love the quality of what is put forward on the DNN space. They love the fact that it's responsive. They love the fact that it's, in a way, it's SEO friendly. You know, with a lot of what was done lately in terms of URL. Friendly URL. So again, that's some of the things. They love the ecosystem. They love that it's scalable as well. What else? They love, well, that's the reason why it's so low, but they love the documentation and training. Again, that's a point of view of some people. They love the performance. It's mentioned as well. It's customizable, it's comprehensive, and even the upgrade process. I mean, some people like the upgrade process. So those are some of the things that were embedded into the big long tail of others there. Okay, perfect. So why love? That's it. What needs improvement? What needs improvement in DNN? And that's really the aspect here that can be compared to what was discussed in the previous survey, because that's exactly the same type of information. So we start there at the top with the features. No, again, very similar to the first survey. People would like a certain feature to behave in a way, to behave in a different way. They would like DNN to work this way or that way, to do that, to have this, to have that. Again, it's a wishy, a big wish list of I wish it would work like this. I wish it would work like that. You know, so again, that's the reason why there's a big pile there under the features. They wish certain things would behave differently. They wish there were some certain features. And so that's usually compromise the top of the of the pie, you know, the biggest chunk of the pie here, with very similar to the last one. Documentation, that's expected. We know that DNN still lacks a comprehensive and central point of documentation, but the great thing is that there is an initiative in place to have that sorted out, to have one location where people, and I'm not talking about DNN here, but to have one location that people can go for administration, for module development, for skinning as well, for theming as well. So again, documentation is a big complaint. In a way, it's, well, for the chart, because features, it's so scattered all over the place, you cannot really say it's this feature or that feature. It's just features in general. I would say that I tend to think that documentation is really the biggest hurdle right now for DNN. Because again, we can segment features into smaller slices there. And documentation is really one that aggregates quite a lot. So again, documentation needs a lot of improvement, but it's great to see that there is an initiative, and Joe Brickman has publicized that quite a lot at this point. It's not done yet, but there are some people in the DNN Corp working to get a lot of training, a lot of training material in one single location. Hopefully that will, if not solve, but it will help addressing a lot the documentation aspect. So under documentation, it's actually documentation and training as well, which is, they are bundled together here. Then we go down here for third-party tools. Some people complain that maybe there's not enough quality on the third-party tools, maybe there's not enough support on the third-party tools, maybe there aren't enough third-party tools, maybe there aren't enough modules out there, or there aren't enough themes out there, variety of themes out there. So that's what I bundled under third-party tools. We go down there and we go to performance. People still complain a lot about performance. I really think that performance will see and feel a sizable, a measurable improvement, not only with DNN 8, but again, the next versions that will get slimmer and slimmer. At some point, we're gonna get a pure MVC DNN at some point in the future. So I think that performance is shrinking, and I can tell you this, performance is one of the aspects as compared to the survey in 2014 that has decreased in terms of complaints, in terms of people saying that it needs improvements. We go down from there, we go to bugs. You know, people complain about bugs, that's fine, it's part of having a product. All products will have bugs, but again, 5% there we have on bugs, 5% we have people saying that it's complex, it's not that easy to use, it's not that, you know, easy to install, it's not that easy to, and then we go to the next one, it's not easy to upgrade. Now, upgrade as well is another aspect that seems to have had an improvement as compared to 2014. It has reduced. The number of people complaining about upgrades has reduced as compared to the previous one. Okay, so we have upgrades. Framework. People complain that, you know, it's still based on forms and based on you know, an antiquated framework. But again, we have, you know, DNN 8 there, which brought a lot of improvements for the framework as well. So again, framework aspect there, it's also in the right track here to getting better and better and better with every release. Releases. People complain about the releases. Two aspects. They complain about the quality of releases, that things were not tested well, and they complain about the fact that it's not that frequent. So two aspects there in terms of releases, quality and frequency. People complain about themes as well, that it's not that easy, it's not that easy to work with themes or to create themes. It's complex, and I guess that you could potentially bundle that together with documentation, because if we have better documentation, if we have better training, then it should be easier to, you know, create themes, because we have where to reference to. We have good documentation to back this up, and then a long tail of others under, you know, just about 23%. Joe, before you ask, let me get some examples here of that long tail of others there. So under others, we have people complaining about lack of support, about lack of community participation, some problems with responsiveness, UI. I have to say, I'm not sure about DNN 8, but it was not a good experience to do DNN administration in mobile. It wasn't, and I'm not even talking about a small, you know, cell phone, a smartphone. I'm even talking about tablets. There were some things that didn't work that well. So again, people complain about that. People complain about that it should have better JavaScript frameworks integration. You know, it could be easier to integrate with things like Angular, things like and other frameworks as well. They complain about the complexity of CSS. You know, CSS. You know, it's a bit tricky to work through the CSS hierarchy that we have there in DNN, and even the default.css. It's still a bit complex to work with. What else? Some people complain about security. Some people complain about too much focus on evoke. Again, it's a category of complaints. They also complain about. Actually, it's an interesting aspect. A few things that I mentioned got reduced from last year to this year. So it reduced in terms of complaints about upgrades and about performance as well. Now, the other two aspects that got reduced too is installation setup. It seems that it just got better on those aspects because people started complaining less about that. And one thing that really dropped, and it's almost unnoticeable at this point, is the spamming. So remember that it was a big problem last year, so people complain a lot about spam. This year, it has really dropped. A few still complain about spam, but very, 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 very few. So something that really dropped. Now, what did increase as compared to 2014 to 2015? Two aspects that I've noticed here. Documentation, people complain more about documentation, the lack of training, and people complain more as well about the quality of releases as well as the frequency of releases. So again, whether or not this is true, but it was a common complaint that increased this year. Again, I open to comments if you guys see fit.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is, it's not like we're targeting a certain version of DNN for the survey. So likely what happened was last year you probably got a little bit of DNN 6 and maybe earlier DNN 7 because they're commenting on the year before, really. I mean, for the most part. And this year is commenting on the year before, which is probably solidly in the 7.2 and above range. So you always got to think about it that way. Your survey is based on last year, and last year is based on whatever clients were using at the time. So yeah, I think hopefully in this coming year with DNN 8, the performance will be further improved, and probably not a lot of other things. To be honest with you, because well, probably performance and maybe what was the other one? Yeah, out of these, I mean, there's no really negatives around just module development. I mean, other than some of the others, but like documentation and performance will improve. I don't know how you can improve third-party tools necessarily. Features, again, I'm looking at like Drupal, because I've been looking at that recently for a client, and JavaScript integration actually is very difficult, like for Angular and stuff, which surprises me. It may just be the lack of knowledge, or they're on an older version. I feel like integrating Angular is very easy in DNN compared to Drupal, because Drupal like actually attaches itself to an older jQuery version, and it's actually very difficult to make those type of changes. But at the same time, Drupal has dynamic content types, right? And we had kind of a false start with dynamic content types in DNN 8, which is why I'm holding on to that beta that it was in originally. But that is going to be coming out this year, early this year. So in next year's survey, people that are used to Drupal will probably be like, that's a feature. Why isn't that there? That was probably, that could be a big part of that 21%.
Very true, very true. Okay, moving on here. I'm gonna try to speed this a little bit. What did DNN do right in 2015? Okay, so what happened, which were the positive aspects of what happened during 2015? So again, people really like the continuing improvement of the platform, the frequent releases, whether or not some people complain about the frequency, but again, people really like the continuing improvement of the platform. People really like as well the move to DNN 8, which we're seeing right now. That move, the first release of DNN 8, and the fact that it's moving towards MVC and towards SPA development as well. So again, a good chunk there think that this is very positive. People also think that the releases, 15%, they really like the quality and the frequency of releases. It's funny to see that at the same time we have one audience here that says, hey, release quality is not good, the frequency is not good. And all of a sudden we see, hey, release quality is good and the release frequency is good as well. So again, we have all those different opinions, from to sample from. What was done right by the DNN Corp, and actually I want to I guess get more details about that. So right on the DNN Corp side, they felt that the DNN Corp is more connected with the community. They felt that DNN Corp marketing strategy has been good to present what DNN can and ask what DNN can do and how it compares to other CMSs as well. The renewed commitment that DNN Corp has with the community as well. So that was a big part of that DNN Corp there done right in 2015. Communication, people feel that they're communicating better. People feel that the support is better. And even the restructuring of DNN Corp, one vote here, someone said that it was a good move. Anyway, moving on here, UI UX, people really like the improvements that have been done on that front. I think that this really talks about the DNN administration. People really like performance improvements that have been done in 2015. They like Evoke improvements as well that, some of the new features that came up on Evoke. So it's there as well. People like that it seems that upgrades are now easier. That's a reflection, I guess, of newer versions of DNN getting easier to upgrade those versions. People think that the stability of the platform is being improved a lot. The fact that DNN is adapting itself to new technologies, to I guess that it goes very, very well together with the move to MVC and SPA. And we have a small slice there, Joe. There's not much to comment there in terms of others. So that's what was done right. Again, feel free to interject here if you have anything to comment, okay? Now, last part of the analysis here. What did DNN do wrong in 2015? Now, that seems, quite, how can I put it? I mean, we have a big chunk there. There's no easy way to say that, but we just have a big chunk there dedicated to DNN Corp. 48%. That 48% is just a way that I have aggregated the data that talks about DNN Corp and what people feel that it was done wrong in 2015. That 48% can be broken down into three aspects. The first aspect is that some people feel that the DNN Corp is a little bit disconnected from the community. That was roughly a third of that 48% is about people saying that DNN Corp is disconnected with the community. People also complain, and there's not much that can be done there. I mean, people complain that, they don't like the fact that Evoke has increased price, or they have changed the license model of Evoke. I mean, that's part of the business, and you know what? We all bought into, DNN Corp, DNN having a commercial version and having the community aspect as well. So again, complain about how they do their business, strategies. It's here, it's present here, and it's reflected as 1/3 of that slice there. But I think it's, in a way, it's a bit pointless to complain about that, because they are a corporation, they are an organization that they need to, to make money. That's basically it. And at the same time work with the community. Third point here, which again it counts to 1/3 of that 48, is about communication. People feel that DNN Corp is not communicating as much or as well as they should. Maybe about new releases, maybe even about this thing which I think it became old already, but I will mention that. The fact that, we have Evoke with a different versioning number as compared to DNN. Again, that has created confusion, and it talks a little bit about communication, the aspect that people think that they don't communicate well. Again, people have the right to complain about anything. So that's really what that 48% there talks about. 3 big slices: disconnect, business, and communication. Now, let's go down to releases. People feel that it's lacking. The releases that were done in 2015 were lacking quality. They were bringing bugs to the platform. They should have been tested more. That's what that 16% is about. Progress. People feel that, some people feel that it's not being progressed fast enough. We are playing catch up with the other technologies. In a way, that might be, I guess, right, because I mean, there are certain things that are running, technology that have been running for a while now, and now DNN is embracing those. You just have to, I guess, put in perspective that we have to balance the legacy that we are bringing now with a platform that has, 13 years of market. So again, people complain a little bit that it's not progressing fast enough. People complain about features. They should have done. Actually, features is interesting because it's really a mix of they have focused on the wrong features last year, or actually that was mostly it. Some features that people feel that should not have been focused too much. I mean, some people complain that they were focused too much on the DCC, on the DCC, the new content aspect of DNN.
Dynamic content types, yeah.
Dynamic content types. So again, as I said, people can complain about a lot of things, but yeah, some people feel that some of the things that were focused on were not the best ones, were not the most, and I will go into more details of those things on the post that I'll be putting together. People feel that documentation was not addressed yet. That's fine. That's true. People feel that performance was not addressed. People feel that complexity was not addressed. People feel that upgrades were not addressed properly yet. And also the third-party quality in general. I mean, people complain a little bit about that as well, that maybe they don't, third-party vendors, they disappear, they go out of business. But I think that the DNN is doing steps towards getting a better hang of their marketplace with the Evoke preferred partners. So I really like that aspect, to flag a vendor as, okay, this is a long-lasting vendor. So, but again, people complain about the quality and the reliability as well of some of the third-party vendors. Others there, we have a very small slice. It's not really worth talking about. So that's what people feel that it was done wrong in 2015. Going to a conclusion here. Anything from your side, guys?
Well, you know, I think the big chunk is the DNN Corp, and I think it all has to do with consistency. And I get it from the ecosystem from last year's perspective. You're looking at they changed pricing, and then they updated their Evoke branding labels again with their Evoke Content Basic to reflect pricing, and then on top of that, the jump start of the version number to where Evoke 8 is different than DNN 8. I think if they can remain more consistent throughout this next year, that will solve most of the problems, even without changing anything. It's just so much that just confuses people. And I think as far as the community is concerned, the fact that we just didn't have a DNN con, and really that's because of us, right? Because, you know, I tried to, you know, get something together in the fall and just couldn't do it. And you know, I think maybe the frustration is more like, well, it's the perception, right? We're going to have 3 DNN Con events this coming year, or this year, and so next year that probably will be vastly reduced. But in the end, it's probably like, well, DNN Corp maybe could put a little more, give a little more help to organizing these events.
You're right. You're right. Actually, that's a great point, because that was a big part of that disconnect there on the DNN Corp side. People were really complaining about the fact that there was no event last year, you know, that, oh, sorry. Actually, there was one event.
DNN Connect, but no DNN Con. Yeah.
No DNN event in the US, in North America.
Right.
And in fact, neither of those events are official DNN events.
Right. But the outside perception might be that they, you know, they could at least help a little more, you know, or actually get more back involved into organizing along with the community. Where, I mean, right now, you know, you could see obviously from last year that it's almost entirely the community that has to get these things moving. You know, as far as organizing them, obviously DNN contributes, they sponsor, they do that, but.
Yeah, we should not put them down for lack of sponsorship and lack of encouragement.
No, certainly not.
But as the person who's under the gun right now for producing DNN Con, it really, and as you found out, it really is the individual organizing group that really bears the brunt of the conference, and perhaps a shout out to the godfather of all of this, Will Stroll. That if it weren't for Will, there probably wouldn't be any DNN cons. I can kind of see it both ways. You know, a couple of years there were official, what was it, DNN World meetings, which were really a user group kind of meeting. I think they kind of overdid it, which is why they backed away from it. But having that official backing and maybe some corporate resources behind the organizing effort would help going from year to year, that at least the stateside events
it wouldn't be such a daunting task for a small group of people.
No, that's right. And you're bringing in a new team that has to essentially reinvent a lot of things in order to do it. Hats off to Arrow, who did it 2 years in a row. That must have been quite a drain on some of their resources to do that, because if you know, there were probably 6 to 10 Arrow employees heavily involved in the production of those events. But anyway, let's not talk bad about it. April 1st and 2nd. Come to Baltimore.
keep the passion. Okay, so let's wrap this up because we are according to my clock here we are over an hour. So last one. Okay, so how about some? I guess that's some green stuff. You know, some positives out of this whole thing, because I think this tells quite a lot. So last question was really in a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend DNN as a CMS? And maybe this question could be split, but again, I didn't want to ask too much. But recommend as a CMS and as a framework. So the first measurement that comes out of such question is very highlighted right now, and all companies, or most companies, or a lot of web-based companies use that measurement as a way to see how well they are doing, which is called the Net Promoter Score. I put a link there, whoever wants to have a look better at how this is quite calculated, but bottom line is that the Net Promoter Score goes from -100, where everybody is a detractor, nobody is recommending your product, you know, the solution, to 100, which is the other side of the equation, which everybody is promoting. In terms of the survey results, we got about 25% detractors, 25% rated between 0 to 6, 32% rated between 7 to 8, and 43% rated 9 to 10. So again, the net of that gives a net promoter score of 18. Basically, this 18 is calculated promoters minus detractors. That's it. If you see the math there, it's 18. So that's the net promoter score. Again, we don't have a huge sample, but that's out of 261 responses. Not including mine, because I didn't vote. Now, if you forget about this fancy net promoter score, which is, again, very much used right now, if you just go bare average, get numbers and have the average there, we got an average, DNN got an average of 7.5, which, you know, it's what? It's a B? Yeah, it's good. It's good. I mean, 75% of it's. I really think it's a great rate. So I think that we are in the right track here. DNN as an ecosystem, DNN as an organization, DNN as a platform is on the right track. I think that we got positive results out of the survey, pointing that we are moving in the right direction. There are things to be done to make it even better. Of course, there will always be things like that. And I hope that with those results, that either that the community can, you know, push themselves forward, DNN Corp as well, the vendors as well of the ecosystem, and everybody will win here, you know. That's really it. That's the end of it. Any final thoughts, Joe?
My personal style is I never give a 10. You know, 10 means I would take a bullet for this thing, and 9 means there's still room for improvement. I mean, I think that's, you know, that's reasonable. I kind of read this result as mildly positive, not overwhelmingly positive. A number of the things that you mentioned earlier are actually addressed and dealt with in DNN 8. It will be interesting to see how many theme developers unload default.css as the first thing they do when they build a theme. You know, the tools for adding JavaScript libraries are now in the administrative section, so you, in principle, don't have to think as much about adding them. And I think the thing I'm interested in seeing moving forward this year is how much traction some of this new stuff actually gains in the community in the third-party developer world. And I guess the other two items that kind of stand out for me are documentation. I still sometimes have trouble finding where something has been hidden away, or getting a good description of how something is supposed to work when it clashes with what I think should happen. That's documentation. Performance is another issue. I was involved in one thing this past year which it turned out did not scale well at all, and I think that was related to choices that had been made much earlier in picking some third-party modules, names that you would recognize as being premier modules in the community, so one of the questions in talking to people was, how do you convince module developers to, I don't want to say adopt best practices, but how do we get them to address performance issues? Many of us don't think large when it comes into thinking about the website, but there's a big difference between a website that will have 10 to 100 people on a really good day viewing the site simultaneously, and one which in the normal course of business has several hundred to 1,000 simultaneous users, and so there's there's plenty of stuff to do.
Good. That's why we're here. Scott, anything from your side?
No, I think it's what's funny is that most of the negatives here, the biggest chunk was more about not the platform, but more about DNN Corps and their marketing. I think going to next year they'll improve their score dramatically in a lot of this stuff if they keep the platform stable, just the same as they're doing before, but then their marketing gets stable. They need to stabilize their marketing. And that'll improve the score dramatically, even if they continue on this and just keep the status quo in the same direction of the platform, and then the perception in the community would also improve as well.
Perfect. So again, to finalize, I'll be publishing more details on the website. Again, there will be an extensive post about that. If by any chance anyone wants more details about the results, please reach out to me. DNN Corp, if you guys want more details on the results, reach out to me. I can for sure give more details on that if you find that it's interesting and appropriate. Okay, that's it. Over an hour, guys. Thank you very much. See you guys in a month. Hasta la vista. Bye.
Thanks.
Take care.